Hello, this is the Green Report, Rappler's show on the environment and the stories of people whose decisions impact the world around us. I'm Iya Gozum.
And I'm Jee Geronimo.
And for this episode, kasama namin si David Castuciano, or as we call him here in Rappler, DR, at si Marian Hukom, two of our amazing artists here at Rappler. Kasama namin si DR sa Environment Cluster ng Rappler, while si Marian ay from Social Issues Cluster na i-recruit na rin namin eventually.
Come to the dark side.
They are part of the team that worked on a two-part investigative story that Rappler released last October on the plight of the Teduray of Maguindanao del Norte. Hi DR, hi Marian, how are you?
Welcome to our show.
First guesting nila to sa The Green
sa show
Report. How are you finding it?
Ayan, masaya naman. Kaya ako nag-green. Oh,
Oo nga, out of place ako.
Lahat tayo naka-green. Si Jill lang yun naka-red.
Christmas.
It completes the Christmas theme.
tama.
Tama. So speaking of themes, wow! So to start off siguro, let's talk about your art styles, kung paano siya na-develop, or how would you describe it? Let's start with Marian.
So, yung sa art style ko is very siya, halata naman sa akin, very neon rin siya. And siya, makapal yung line art, very cartoonish. So, animated expressions, siya, if kaya, ina-exaggerate ko siya while keeping it simple since I also do comics. So, kailangan consistent yung pages ko.
So it's bold but it has to flow kasi may narrative here, a comic artist.
Yes.
Right?
Wow, she's an artist also.
Yeah, ilalim ko yan sa lit! Pero syempre, the literature side ng
Yes.
Kasi comics is literature daw.
It is.
So nag-veer away na tayo dun sa topic. Anyway, how about you, DR? How would you describe?
Yung palagi kong gustong two things na nalalagay sa art ko is that it's colorful, tapos may may touch of something Filipino. Kaya yun lang yung...
Ano sabihin ng touch of a Filipino in an art?
Well, kasi on my personal artworks, I usually draw people that I see around. Tapos I also draw food from the Philippines, ganyan. So, ayun, gusto ko palagi parang, even with my drawings, palaging may parang little hints of basta ma-feel na parang medyo Filipino siya.
Na local. It's a local art, gano'n.
Yeah. Parang whether it's color or yung mga mismong gamit or details.
Right. So, kunyari yung mga kalendaryo na sa Pilipinas
Or yung
Good Morning
Towel.
Gets.
Tsaka, you've been working with Rappler for a couple of years now. And specifically, ikaw yung gumagawa ng art for our opinion pieces. So how is the process like? Translating journalistic pieces, opinion pieces, into art?
Well, first it was challenging talaga. 4 years na ako sa Rappler, tapos yung first time ko, sobrang nakaka-pressure kasi parang feel ko yung parang, the fact na yung mapapublish yung artwork mo. That was the first time for me rin kasi. It's my first time being part of a news company. So, ayun. Pero now parang I see it as parang it's a challenge and an exercise din for me. Kasi feeling ko, to develop an art style, you have to learn to parang read or express something na hindi art. Na parang written, gagawin mo visual.
Yeah.
Parang doon mo ma-harness yung art style mo when you're using your head to conceptualize, parang gano'n.
Which are two very different texts, di ba? The story and then the art.
Oh, and then you can't be super literal na kunyari, 'di ba? Pag sinenda namin kayo ng ito yung article namin, hindi naman pwede kung ano yung sinabi namin literally, yun lang yung itatranslate nyo into the 'di ba?
True.
So, papaano yung kunyari that creative process of someone will ask you na ito yung isusulat o ilalabas nating article, papaano nyo sinisimulan yung pag-brainstorm and papaano yung creative process nyo in general also, like not even for work, kunyari for your personal accounts or for your personal drawings and art styles, papaano yung process nyo?
And given na in the newsroom, all deadlines are tight. So you can't sit with it na sobrang tagal.
Right.
Yes.
True. Yung, for me naman, yung pag-conceptualize is, pagdating sa newsroom na articles is, kailangan basahin mo talaga. Basahin mo talaga yung article para ma-increase rin yung comprehension mo. And, kailangan ma-understand pa kasi in respect rin yun sa both the material and the writer na pinadala sa'yo. And, ayun, yung katulad ng sinabi ni DR, parang rin siya, may exercise rin or matcha-challenge yun yung sarili mong art style. Mas magiging fluid or adaptable rin siya. Especially with the deadlines rin na kailangan. So, ganun. So, for me, magda-draft muna ako on paper or parang pagdating sa gagawa tayo ng collage, yung composite, ganun, composition. Ayun, kahit ano muna siya, kahit di siya malinis, kahit lang, makita mo lang yung concept. And then, ayun, tsaka mo siya ayusin. Ganun.
How about you, DR? What's your process?
Ako, almost same lang din naman. Usually sa mga ganito nga, parang I start with layout. Yun yung una ko inuuna, parang composition of how it will all look. Usually, I center it kasi nga we usually publish the article in different sizes, yung thumbnail, tapos yung carousel, ganun. Tapos, ang hinuhuli ko palagi is color. Kasi color for me is so challenging. Yun yung pinaka-nahirapan talaga ako in terms of art style. Pero more or less, parang same din kami ni Marian in terms of the process.
Did it feel like compromising sometimes? Kasi parang you just don't, hindi mo lang siya ginagawa as is. You have to take into consideration yung interpretation ng issue at hand, yung veracity ng report, tapos kailangan mo rin take into consideration na nilalabas nga siya sa different platforms. So, hindi lang siya yung isang size, di ba? Lalabas siya ng naka-square, So, para ang daming considerations na I think other artists not working in newsrooms would not consider.
Siguro technical aspects, na laging, yun yung isa sa mga first na tinuro sa akin here, na kailangan lagi kong isipin ano magiging itsura niya sa thumbnail, especially sa phone, since doon na lahat nagbabasa ng news. And then, ayun, so naglagay ako ng literal na nakalock lang na layer na guide, na square, na doon dapat lahat ng main elements, na first look pa lang nila, especially now, maikli na yung attention span ng tao.
Right.
In digital age talaga. So, kailangan nandun lahat ng elements.
So, parang for writers, it's the same thing, di ba? At least the basic details.
Many writers. May mga iba-iba rin ng process yung writers. Minsan may mga, tulad ko na I really rely on layout, an outline. Pero may mga tao na they don't do outlines. Kaya na nila agad isulat ng dire-diretso.
And then for news articles, kailangan parang ganun din. Parang sa isang tingin, nandun na agad yung main elements ng balita. Or else you lose your audience. Or it will fall into vagueness.
Meron din ba kayong creative block? And how does that happen in a newsroom?
Wala talaga, minsan talaga, hindi mo talaga siya may iwasan yung pagkaroon ng sort of creative block. Dito nga, since feeling ko na-practice nga rin ako in the newsroom, kasi nga, deadlines, tapos you really don't have a choice na you really have to put out on a daily basis because, hindi lang siya parang hobby namin, this is our work as well, diba? Kaya, ako, I just, talaga, parang, it's a good help din kasi pag kung sa mga opinion pieces, for example, we're given guidelines to highlight a certain part of the story.
Right.
Maganda rin yun na parang, or kung wala man, kami, we have to really read it and then analyze ko ano yung parang focal point of the story. Tapos yun, from there, gagawa kami ng artwork. Usually, pag may art block ako, I would rely on parang more, I go through the basics first. Parang iniisip ko yung parang general idea of the topic and then I'll think of elements to symbolize the yung mga topics na yun.
Right.
Tapos yun. Yung basta if you just keep working and drawing, eventually mawala rin naman talaga. Or at least for me, parang if I have if I stop habang nag-art block ako, it really will prolong it. Kailangan talaga I really have to keep
Actually,
keep doing it.
Yung kanina lang na art block ako. Kanina lang nag-work ako.
So, just recently,
Kanina lang. Ganun rin. May pinapagawa sa aking opinion, tapos na-realize ko sobrang cluttered ng collage ko. And then, tumagal ako ng pag-nitpick, umaandar yung oras. So, nag-scrap na lang. Minsan wala kang choice kundi i-scrap na lang lahat, tas ulit ka.
Yeah.
And then, alalahanin mo na lang na ano yung mga main focal point. So, nakatulong rin yung ano natin. Yung bawat section natin, may color code sila minsan, or meron talagang hina-highlight nga.
True.
And then, kailangan mo nang alalahanin yun. Or minsan, magbibigay yung writers ng parang anong gusto nila i-highlight doon.
Yeah.
So, parang, ayun na lang yung i-rely mo. Imbes na mas stuck ka sa rabbit hole ng pag-nitpick ng article.
So next time na lang ulit.
Oo. Tanggapin mo na, na-scrap mo na.
Kill your darlings, sabi nila. It goes for artists and writers din.
I think maganda rin yun na parang she said na you start with parang something cluttered. Parang it's sort of the draft and then you clean it up.
Yeah.
I think ganun din, similar to mine din.
So yeah, let's talk about this particular investigative story which you both worked on. For those who are watching us, the context of this story is that we ran a two-part story on the Teduray. They are non-Moro indigenous peoples whose members were displaced from the land that they traditionally occupied, only to be affected by fatal landslides in the site where they were relocated. So since yung forced relocation nila, meron ng mga resorts na itinayo doon sa areas kung saan sila pinaalis. So, it's a very heavy, and the more that you read the story, you will really realize the details of how yung historic na pagpapaalis sa mga indigenous peoples in the land that they traditionally own. And this is just one of those stories. And imagine, this is just one.
It's a very layered story, actually.
Yes. And we thought, while we were conceptualizing this story, that we will put graphics. So, isasama namin yung aming graphics team to really visualize what happened, since this is ilang years to in the making. It was a disaster in the making for how many years? And it's been a year since that tragic landslide happened. So, we released those stories on the first anniversary of that landslide. So, when you first learned of this project, what came to your mind nung nilapitan kayo ni Sir Emil? Sir Emil is our head for creatives. Anong una nyo naisip?
Nung first dumating yung project, parang di ako aware na nangyayari pala to, na may ganito. So parang nagulat rin ako sa kanong ka-heavy yung gagawin namin in such a short na timeline. Tapos, ayun, binigyan talaga kami ng maraming resources to work with. Merong references with actual photos, merong actual na writing na pwedeng pag-aralan. So, nagulat lang ako na hindi ako aware na nangyayari pala to. And ongoing pa siya. So,
Same. Joke. Hindi, same din talaga. Joke lang. Same din ako actually. Nagulat ako na parang may ganito palang story. Hindi ko parang, siguro nga natabunan siya with other stories kasi nangyari during the pandemic. Nagsimula yun. So, nagulat din ako. And as I read the story, especially yung may mga anecdotes ng mga nangyayari talaga, sobrang nakakaawa talaga yung nangyayari sa kanila. Tapos, ayun, nakaka-empathize rin kasi feeling ko, lahat tayong Pilipino may certain trauma rin when it comes to yung mga flooding, mga typhoons, di ba? Tapos yun, nakakasad talaga. To think na yung parang they feel homeless even until now.
Yeah. Ano yung yung naging process nyo nun? Like, ano yung peg na sinet nyo? Or did you set any parang pegs to follow para ma-reconcile or mag-merge together yung styles nyo? Although not contrasting naman. Pero parang maging align siya dun sa narrative and maging align yung parehas nyong gagawin.
So who was in charge with what while you were doing it, and paano nyo siya pinagsama para?
Ako illustrations, tapos si Dear sa
sa
animation. Tapos yung sa part na illustration is of course, magsa-start na maghahanap ka ng pegs. Yun nga yung actual pegs. Maghahanap ako ng artwork na i-reference. And then, since ito medyo technical, yung output kasi kailangan GIF siya.
Yeah.
And pag GIF, kailangan compressed yung size. So, you have to keep it as simple as you can. So, naghanap ako ng pegs na pwedeng simple lang, na kaya namin na-execute, especially with the timeline. Tsaka, ayun nga, asset rin siya to animate. So, para mas madali animate, kailangan simple lang talaga siya.
Yeah.
So, sinabihan naman ako ni Sir Emil na pwede gamitin yung personal ko na art style. Pero bawasan yung colors since kailangan nga ano lang siya, magaan lang siya. And I think nakakatulong rin yun sa comprehension with the article para hindi siya nagtitake away masyado dun sa content.
Yeah.
Para they go hand in hand together.
It
kapag
should
binasa.
complement, right? Marian, you have a background on comics. Parang how did that come in handy na para yung art ay it would work with the narrative. It won't interrupt. It won't disrupt the flow. It's part of the flow.
Actually, nakatulong siya na dun ko nga naisip na kailangan simplihan ko in terms na kailangan yung i-prioritize ko yung story. Especially since yung format ng article is, illustration, animation, tapos text. So, para rin siyang comics in a way. And then, ayun, yung isipin ko yung flow ng story. And ano yung dapat kong i-highlight na angle na mas maintindihan nila. Na at least, kahit hindi ko sobrang i-perfect yung illustration na yun, basta it gets to that point.
Yeah.
And then, kaya na i-carry over to the next one. Yeah. So, di naman kailangan bawat illustration masterpiece. Parang, lahat sila together, yun dapat yung masterpiece. Hindi yung just one illustration.
Oo, kasi kapag nag-nitpick ka, it will take forever.
Oo, tsaka overload, ganun.
Right.
It should be released by the end of the year.
Deadline driven pala yun.
Deadline driven.
O, hindi ako yung nag-gawa ng deadline. Nag-edit lang din ako.
So, was it overwhelming, the prospect of translating these very heavy and very layered investigative pieces?
Yeah, definitely. I think, overwhelming siya at first. Pero yun nga, what we do naman talaga in Rappler is, sa graphics team, we collaborate so that so that we can meet the deadlines and make the project happen naman. We really chose Marian para sa illustrations.
Wow.
Chosen one pala siya. Parang nahirapan.
Parang talaga for the environment class.
Ayun, para kasi from her comic background.
Yeah.
Tapos really wanted to emphasize dahil nga may yung mga stories at anecdotes from the story, we want to make it really impactful sa personal. Kaya we wanted to simplify tapos pero also yun nga, yung art style ni Marian na very simple pero impactful. Tapos even with the colors na napili ni Marian, dun talaga parang just to really emphasize dun sa story, parang to add visual to the story talaga. Ayun.
Doon sa animation, DR, paano yung process nun? Paano mo visualize, syempre from her art into doing it to animating?
Ano yung mga kinakain mo habang nag-all-nighter ka, gano'n?
Kung ano yung magiging itsura niya, di ba? Kasi yun yung drama eh. It's the drama. It comes alive because of the movement of it.
Well, yung process namin is that, yun nga, the first thing is yung storyboarding. Tapos from storyboarding, ma-finalize pag na-approve na yun, finalize ni Marian yung mga sketches. And then I'll wait for Marian to send me the assets. In terms of animation naman, medyo madali nga since Marian gave the illustrations. Ang iniisip ko na lang talaga is to how to make it move. And parang to give life in a way dun sa mga drawings. And yun, gusto ko lang talaga pakita yung emotion. Like for example, yung parang mga thunder, gusto ko gawin talaga siyang sobrang emphasize yung parang gaano kabilis yung frames, kung gaano kabilis yung bagyo, at saka yung ganun. Ayun, tapos pag sa mga scenic, more scenic na na frames, I wanted to be slower. Pero yun nga, medyo may on the technical side, dun nahirapan lang kami on the idea of the file size. Because the longer the animation, the bigger the file size. Yeah. So yun, we had to work with that. Tapos, eventually, thanks to our tech, we were able to be able to publish it naman. Pero yun, so far yun lang naman. Medyo madali naman kasi ang ganda nga ng ginawa ni Marian ng illustrations. Madali na lang sa akin.
Pero super thanks rin kay Dear na binuhay niya naman yung illustrations na yun. Grabe, yung minsan may mga parts, kahit may mga parts na di ako din drawing, siya rin nag-drawing. Like, kunyari, may mga tao doon na nakadrawing na nakabukas sa yung mata. Tapos ginawa niya is, napagalaw niya, na, pumipikit sila. Tapos sabi ko lang,
Paano yun?
paano sila pumipikit? Ang galing. Tapos parang, ayun, nakita ko rin yung ginawa niya doon sa mga thunder, or kunyari may part doon na may mga, ano siya, chaotic na background. Kasi nga, may mga explosions, gano'n, na sinusugod sila. Na ano niya, na-deliver niya yung tone in a way na mafe-feel mo talaga yung contrast from something so peaceful, biglang naging chaotic.
So
which
that-
is, yun literally na pinagdaanan nila.
So that attention to detail talaga really tells the stories, no? So parang lang for writers like us, we always rewrite ourselves trying to choose the right words, the right phrases, the right idioms that we use. So parang same process din. Similar. Pero parang frustrating lang na parang you have a vision and you know what you want, you know how you want things to look on the story. Pero para magkakaroon ka ng issue na, ay, malaking file size, hindi kaya. Parang yun yung frustrating na part.
Pero baka yung favorite na, like, part of the series that yung favorite na, ano?
Yung sa akin yung isang GIF doon na ano, yung 3 panel.
Ako din.
Oo.
May comment. Ako din.
Yun nga, as a comic artist, of course, na gustuhan ko yung gumamit ako ng 3 panels. Pero, yung story kasi nun, yung sobrang bilis nga ng pangyayari, na yung subject is, binuksan niya lang yung pinto niya, biglang may landslide. Tapos pagtalikod niya, nawala na yung tatay niya. Na ganun, literal, in three panels, ang laki nangyari, ang laking impact sa buhay niya.
And ganun din ng kabilis yung nangyari in the actual, ano.
So parang doon ko na-feel yung heaviness ng story na di ko ma-imagine kung nangyari sa akin yun.
Tapos actually, yung 3 panels na yun, if it's in comic format, more impactful siya kasi wala siyang text.
Oo,
So parang you would imagine it on a page, tapos 3 panel lang na. Tapos yung iba-ibang scenes na narrative na mabilis nangyari, no words, just the senses, just the visuals.
Yun nga, walang time to react, walang time to to comprehend ano nangyayari. Tapos nangyari na lang siya. Which is yun nga, nung ginawa mo siya, nung inanimate mo siya, sobrang nagulat ako na yun gumagalaw lahat, tapos yung mukha niya na distraught siya. Na sobrang na-capture niya ni Dear sa animation.
Actually, yeah, kasi yun yung una naming ginawang animation.
Oo nga.
Kasi
Sample.
part of the process is papakita muna kami ng sample na peg before we do all the other scenes. Pinili talaga namin yung scene 2 na yun. Kasi feeling ko yun talaga yung magsaset ng mood.
Yeah.
Tapos parang siya yung focal talaga na story.
Kahit ako parang when I read the stories, yun talaga din yung pinaka-to. So anong comment ni Sir Emil na nakita niya yun?
May phone in tayo.
Hello?
Ay, sir. ayun. Appreciate namin yung mga input ni sir. So, na yung mga encouragements and yung, pag nagko-collaborate kami, literal, in real time.
Oo, nakita ko kayo minsan magkakatapat talaga kayo.
Ayun,
Brainstorming talaga.
Yan ba yung mga intense sessions niya?
Storyboarding rin namin, live rin yun minsan. Like, minsan dinala ko yung iPad ko dito, in real time kami nagdo-drawing ng mas magandang angle, ganun.
Yeah. Yun. Tapos, yun, si Sir Emil din tumulong din sa amin in terms of conceptualizing and envisioning yung kung ano yung mga lumalabas na sa animation sa scene. So, tumulong din talaga siya dun sa idea na 3rd panel, na 3 panels pala.
Oo, siya nag-suggest.
Oo.
Actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oo, kasi actually, naalala ko nung bago natin ilabas, talagang kinoconsult niya ako na ito yung magiging itsura. Wala pa nga atang draft, talagang kinoconceptualize yun na how it will happen. Medyo mahirap yun, wala pa draft. Diba? Pero medyo tight din kasi talaga yun. Pero for you, after doing a project like this, and of course, ang hope natin ay we will do more projects. Kasama si Marian. So, what is the role of art in truth-telling and especially for stories like this na talagang, yun nga, when you think about it, hindi talaga siya ganun ka. Heavy talaga siya. It's really, what we wanted was to really bring the audience back to that time when it happened. Kasi nga, it happened in 2022. And even before that, which is the 2020 displacement. Ano yung tingin nyo yung role nung what you do in stories, in storytelling like this?
For me, yung role ng art ko sa ganitong project is, ayun nga, they go hand in hand together talaga, pang aid sa reader, para mas ma-comprehend nila. And then, in a way na hindi lang technical na comprehension, parang meron ng emotional na comprehension para maging mas empathetic na, katulad ng sinabi ni DR, na mas ma-feel nila anong nangyayari. Since, yun nga, there are people na visual learners naman talaga, and nakakatulong rin siya sa pag-imagine ng story. And then, from my side naman, mas natututo rin ako ng paano mag-deliver ng ganitong delicate na subject. Especially with the challenges ng, yun nga, na yung medium natin, yung file size, and deadline, yung gano'n. So parang the best way na you can deliver it and the best way na they can receive it. Yun yung learnings ko dun. Art as an aid.
Yeah. Ako naman, talaga I see, yung even the written story, I think it's an art form as well. So parang this is sort of like a collaboration. And like Marian said nga, it's like, it gives visual aid. It sort of gives color to the story. Tapos it gives the impact, the mood. So, ayun nga. And I think maganda rin nga because this investigative story gave parang a sort of voice sa Teduray. And yun.
Yung mga feedback na ba sa inyo about seeing your piece, di ba? Kasi yun ang unang makikita talaga, even in the promos, di ba? Yun ang unang makikita.
Actually, yun nga, mga yung sa friends ko naman, they also said na parang they didn't know that there was a story like this. So talagang yung story yung parang very impactful.
Same. Yung friends ko rin, kapag nung nalaman nila na parang may ganito pala na nangyayari na sobrang absurd, pero nangyari siya. Na, tapos the fact na ongoing pa rin siya is, yun nga, nakagulat.
Oo. Pero kasi diba in the history of our country, talagang art really plays a role in protests, in making a stand, in saying stories like this, and especially stories na talagang kailangang madala sa ma-broadcast talaga sa mundo. So I think yung story nyo talaga, it's and the styles that you brought into that story, it was the perfect mix. Yun nga, collaboration nga talaga siya. And syempre magko-collab din tayo with prod kasi meron din silang may part din ng prod dito to come, to follow sila ang bonggang sila ang
Abangan.
Oo. Hopefully lumabas na pag lumabas tong na to. Pinressure yung
Hello.
Anyway, thank you DR and Marian, and we hope to have more collaborations in the future. Sana yung next story ko. Sana yung next story ko.
I-post na.
In-post. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. And that's a wrap. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any story ideas to pitch, you can reach us at Iya Gozum or at Jee Geronimo on X. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.